Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So, I love this film. You guys did a great job. Thank you, Bubba, for being open and honest, about who you were and just the ups and downs that you were facing. And Eric being able to tell this story with so much truth. So, first questions for Bubba. Bubba, for many people, NASCAR culture reads as conservative. What gave you the courage to speak up on the racial issues, and were you afraid of being Kaepernick?
No, I think it was a time in our sport where we needed change, and I was getting some tweets of kind of peer pressure, like what's Bubba Wallace think about this, and so it felt like the time was right for me to finally stand up and say something, and I knew there was an opportunity for me to potentially lose my ride and lose sponsorships because they don't want to be a part of that, and that was okay. I was willing to accept that, but I said that would show who's a part of the problem, and so fortunately and thankfully all my sponsors and teams rallied behind me and pushed me to do even more, and so I thought that was very humbling and special, and so it was a good part of the journey.
Nice. This question is for Eric. Eric, what did you know about NASCAR or Bubba Wallace before you took on a project like this? And how did you convince Bubba to join this project with you?
I knew very little about NASCAR when I started this project, and everything I learned was on the job training.
Wow.
and and so I stumbled my way through, and I found some very interesting components in NASCAR that I thought was important to share with the world, because I think the sport has some really cool things that other people might be interested in if they were like me and were unaware of the sport and didn't know much about it at all. Bubba came to this project with his own ideas. When we first started, we wanted to tell the story of mostly the 2020 season and what Bubba did to take a stand, because we thought it was so important for as an American story. It was important to document that and to get a sense of why and how that happened and the changes that were being made. Bubba came to the process and wanted to make sure we documented the 2021 season, and to show the racing and the aspects of what drivers actually go through on a regular basis. And we combined those visions and we came up with race, and we gave something for both. So we're forward looking, we're in the present, and we also talk about the past.
Nice. This question for Bubba, last question. Bubba, one of the highlights of the film, not only are you dealing with race, but you're dealing with depression. And I love that you're open about that. There's always a stigma with depression. Why do you feel it's so hard for athletes to admit they're depressed, let alone ask for help?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I talked about this just a second ago. As athletes, we're there to perform and give it our all, 110%. And so there's the part of it where if your mind is focused on the negatives that you're dealing with, then you're not ready to compete, and which is by far the opposite. It's just, we can't forget that we're all human beings that at every point in our lives, and we just so happen to be athletes. It's not the other way around. It's it's tough for people to understand that. And for me, I was always just a person that would just, if I was frustrated at something or something bothered me, I would just let it blow over. Well, I think with age, and I know you wake up and you get these unwanted pains just randomly, but it's harder for things to just blow over, and it kind of latches on and sticks there. And so you're like, well, damn, then it becomes something bigger than it should have been. And so then you go back to, I should have talked to somebody about it to begin with. And just so somebody happened to ask me, how I was feeling that day. And, I just kind of unraveled, and then I quickly realized how big of an issue it was for people not to do that, and how uncomfortable it makes people feel. And so, for me, it was just, it's like, okay, I need to finally tell somebody how I'm feeling. And that was it. And so, I think the more we can appreciate people as being human beings and just so happen to be athletes on the other side, I think that will go a long way and let us feel comfortable in talking about whatever we need to talk about.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. This is Ro Carter with blackfilm.com. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ro.